Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Taylor Badie out of the University of Missouri in our NFL Draft Prospect Special is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Talking about some running back out of Missouri with Mr. Badie here. It's going to be a good show. I can't wait to talk more about this young man and where he can go in the NFL draft in 2 months now, right? In April 28th through the 30th. It's going to be a fun time. The draft is getting closer and closer. I can't wait to talk more about this young man.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching from home, tell us, what do you think about Taylor Badie? What will he do in the NFL draft? And what do you think he's going to land? Which team do you think that he'll land with? And are you excited about the combine that's coming up tomorrow on March the 1st? So tell us in the comments exactly what you think. And if you're listening to this after the combine, tell us what you thought of the combine. We'd love to hear more about it. And did Taylor Badie do exactly what you thought he would do in those particular trials and seeing what's going on with that? So, Mr. Logan Landers, tell us, Taylor Badie from Missouri, what do we have to look to?
All right, you are getting a solid player here, Jeremiah, with Tyler Badie. He's coming out of the 901, represent Memphis, Tennessee, where he was born and raised. Was born there, right? Did some good work. He went to high school at Briarcrest Christian High School, then transferred over, right? Went to Missouri. He went to Louisiana, right? And now here we are in Missouri, right? Good player here. Let's talk more about his stats and see what he did. So his freshman season, right, his first year of action, 2018, he did a solid job, right? 437 yards on 89 carries, 4.9 average, 2 touchdowns though. So nothing too crazy, but his receiving, he had 12 catches for 130 yards. Could not find the end zone for the receiving game. However, in 2019, that changed though. 118 carries, 457 yards, a 4.2 average, but he did have 3 touchdowns on the ground. And for the receiving game, 32 catches, 356 yards, good for 11.1 average, and 5 touchdowns on the air, the most in his career. 2020, the shortened season, 48 carries, 242 yards. He did have 4 touchdowns with a 5.0 average. And then in the receiving game, he had 28 catches, 333 yards, 11.9 average, the most in his career, and 2 touchdowns. In this past season, 2021, the most attempts he's had in his career, he really ramped up his production. And when I say that, 268 carries, 1,604 yards, good for 6.0 average per run, 14 touchdowns on the ground, and in the receiving department, he did very well also. 54 catches, 330 yards, good for 6.1 average with 4 touchdowns. So it's someone who, really up till 2021 didn't have, he showed kind of some glances, a little bit of star potential. You could see it. But then in 2021, he broke loose and he got off the chain and he was putting in some work. And I like this guy. He's a very solid player. He's got very good vision. And like I said, whenever you're able to run for over 1,500 yards in a season, you got to have some good vision, I believe. And that's what he's really good for. He's a good zone runner through and through. He sees the upper levels of the defense. He can really kind of pinpoint where he needs to go. He knows where the good edges are. He knows what holes, what gaps to go through. He's good at cuts. He can get through. He can juke guys out. He's good footwork. He's light on his feet. He's quick. He's not just going to be a slow running back. And like I said, his pass catching ability is one of probably the better when it comes to a running back, right? He's electric in space. If you give him a little bit of room, he can put a lot with it. And I think he's kind of a guy that you can look at for a check down, right? If there's no one open, you can toss it to him and he will do a lot of work with it regardless. And I think he's got good potential to be a very good pass catching running back that we see kind of more and more of in the NFL. So he has that ability with him. He's not just a one trick pony. He's a good discipline, right? He's patient. He's not just kind of gonna run in there with his head on fire. He's able to kind of see where the ball's at, see where his linemen are, and they kind of work with that. Like I said, he's got good shiftiness, good elusiveness, and he's got some good wiggle room to kind of get through those tight gaps that you desperately need to get through in the NFL to get some extra yardage. He will fight for those extra yards also. And like I said, he's versatile. And because when I say that, he's not just limited to being a running back in the backfield for checkdowns. He's also can line up at receiver if you need him to and get some good work there. He's also good as a kick returner. He's returned 35 kicks in his career, so he can just do anything you want. He's an athletic player, obviously, if he's doing all this work as a running back, as a wide receiver, as a kick returner. So he's got a very versatile outlook. Like I say, he's got some big, explosive, big play ability. In 2021, he had 46 runs of 10 or more yards, and he's also has multiple runs of over 45 yards from his scrimmage. His speed, his elusiveness, his explosiveness. If you get him in the open field, good luck catching him because he is super fast. And overall, he's like I say, he's got good job ball security too, right? That ball security is going to lead to some job security because if you're a running back, you can't hold on to the ball. You ain't going to be in the league for long. But thankfully for Tyler Badie, he's able to hold on to it. He doesn't really get that many fumbles. He keeps the ball high and tight. He's only fumbled twice in 516 rushing attempts. So that just lets you know that he is not going to, unless someone has a heck of a right hand that can punch the ball out, he is not going to let the ball loose. So overall, looking at Tyler Badie, he's a workhorse, right? He sees a ton of the field, doesn't miss many snaps, is always going to be doing something for you. When it comes to blocking, he is a little bit on the smaller side at 5'8", 194 pounds, so he's not going to be the best blocker, obviously, just with his size. But I think if you can take this guy in maybe the third round, someone you can work with. We don't see many running backs taken in the first round, especially anymore. They usually kind of drop to the second and third round. I think that you're going to get a guy who, I don't know if he's going to be a starter right away, but it's someone that you can definitely put in some packages in whoever's offense he goes to. And when I said that, like I said, he can do some kick returning. He can do a little bit of receiving work if you need him to. And as a good running back, he can put in some work there also. So he's just someone who is going to get on the field one way or another and going to be productive at it too. Whoever gets this young man is going to get someone who's explosive. If you get him in the open field, watch out because he's going to go far with it. And I think this guy has a ton of upside potential for whoever drafts him come April.
And that is, I was just thinking, okay, you've got a running back from Missouri and Tyler Badie. Dude, it's just incredible to think about what these young men are going through and how hard they are working to get to that next level. It's got to be a very exciting time in a person's career to be that young, still in college. You haven't made that transition yet. Then you're doing the biggest interview of your life for the job that you've been training for 4 years to try to get. And, if you don't end up going to the NFL, you still got a great career ahead of you wherever you did your college. And you do go to the NFL, you start off your career in an amazing place, whether you go for years and years and years or you just go for a few seasons. It's just an amazing start to a life coming out of college.
Yeah,
so everybody watching, yeah, definitely. So everybody watching, tell us, what do you think about Tyler Badie? Do you think that he'll be drafted in what round? What team do you think he'll be drafted? And we just want to hear from you over and over again about what you are thinking about with this young man. And if you're watching us live, thank you so much. But if you're listening to our podcast, thank you again. Our podcast grows every single week. We have over 700 episodes. You can go back and listen to our amazing history specials, our awesome coverage of all the great games, and interviews with legendary players, other people in the sports broadcasting industry, and some of the incredible coaching staff that's been around for so many years, helping to shape the world of football. And I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and you have been listening to our NFL draft prospect of Tyler Badie. Please go and listen to our podcast on Spotify, on Apple, on Amazon, on Overcast, and we will be back with another live episode soon. This one was brought to you with our host, Mr. Logan Landers, and once again,